Vancouver has a reputation for being one of the most expensive cities in the world to live in, and it's frustrating locals, scaring away businesses, and forcing our best young minds to look elsewhere for work and opportunity. So you would think the local government would do whatever they can to help alleviate some of the pain in our wallets when it comes to living here. Sadly, that is not the focus or the goal of the Vision Vancouver-run City Hall under Mayor Gregor Robertson. You see, the city is beginning to implement its Renewable City Plan, a 35-year window to get the city using 100% renewable energy by 2050. The plan includes things like phasing out and ending natural gas use in 70% of new buildings by 2020 and 100% by 2030. Yes, that will mean forcing developers to use more expensive electric furnaces and forcing more people to start using hydroelectricity to heat their homes. This is a significant burden as natural gas is very low cost and it looks to stay that way for decades to come. Currently, the city gets 46% of its energy from natural gas use. The plan, as you can see, is to phase that out and replace it mostly with hydroelectricity from BC Hydro, doubling it from 30 to 60% of our energy mix in the city. You can also see the plan to completely eliminate gasoline and diesel usage as well. They are essentially living out the NDP dream of eliminating gasoline-powered vehicles in our city.
I quite like what they're doing in Europe, and it's worth studying it carefully as we think about Canadian policy. A hard cap on emissions, to price carbon, a home and industrial retrofit program, getting out of coal, getting an urban mass transit program, and getting fossil-fueled cars out of our cities.
Check out this graphic again. The city expects most of the reduction in fossil fuel use and emissions to come from reducing energy demand. So the city's war on cars will ramp up, but so will the war on heavy industry. I wouldn't be surprised if the higher energy prices drive some of that industry out from Vancouver proper to places like Surrey and Burnaby. And Vision Vancouver would just love to claim that those emissions don't emanate from the city. But that's exactly what's wrong with this plan. Most of the population of the Lower Mainland isn't within the City of Vancouver's jurisdiction. In fact, 70% of the population of the Lower Mainland wouldn't have to live by Vision Vancouver's eco-crazy vision. This plan is a bad idea, plain and simple. Natural gas burns clean, it's cheap, and it's reliable. BC has massive reserves in the Northeast, and we should be championing the use of natural gas in vehicles and our homes, not condemning it. This plan is likely to cost the taxpayer big time on their utility bill. But also, think about the cost to schools, hospitals, and TransLink. Well, Jordan Bateman from the Canadian Taxpayers Federation holds many of those concerns as well.
Well, this is terrible news for not just the customers of natural gas, but for every taxpayer in British Columbia, frankly. So what would happen is for the average family in the Lower Mainland, or in Vancouver, you would have this cost of ripping out your furnace, ripping out your natural gas water heater, and replacing that. So infrastructure costs of several $1,000s. Plus, you'd actually end up paying about $1,400 more a year in utility bills because electricity is so much more expensive than natural gas. So right there, you're behind the eight ball. There's 108,000 customers across Vancouver of natural gas right now. Then you have to add the tax burden. TransLink, they're buying natural gas buses because they're so much cheaper than fuel cell buses. If they're not allowed to run those in the city of Vancouver, chances are they'll have to buy buses 2.5 times more expensive. Schools, there's more than 100 schools in Vancouver powered by natural gas. Shift those over, you're talking about millions in new boilers and furnaces. And then you're talking about another $3.5 million a year in energy costs. And hospitals. For a mid-sized hospital in Vancouver, you're talking about $600,000 a year more just in the energy costs to go to electricity, let alone having to replace all the infrastructure, including what you use to sterilize instruments. So massive costs, not just to the resident who actually owns the house, but to the taxpayers as well.
I'm going to keep analyzing this plan, but I can tell already it's a bad idea, and I want to do more. I want to let Vision Vancouver and Mayor Gregor Robertson know that Vancouver won't stand for their war on affordable and reliable fossil fuels. So I'm launching a new petition that I'll deliver to City Hall. Go to badidea.ca and sign this petition if you think Gregor Robertson's Renewable City Plan is a bad idea. That's badidea.ca. For the Rebel.media, I'm Christopher Wilson.
Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.